Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome, everybody, to the Crossing Swords pregame show brought to you by none other than Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. I am the host of Two Goalies, One Mike, Dwayne Steinau, joined by Vinny. Without Maniac, our condolences to him and his family. Hopefully they get through these tough times. And of course, with Buffalo playing the St. Louis Blues here tentatively in the next 10 to 12 minutes. Another tough matchup for Buffalo. The Blues sit 43-20-10 in the Central Division, with Buffalo at 27-37-11. But honestly, through the months of March and April, have been one of the hotter teams in the league, playing up to the level of every single team, every single playoff-bound team they've played so far this season. And coming fresh off a big win against the rival Toronto Maple Leafs. Vinny, how are we feeling?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I actually feel pretty good. The Sabres, like you just mentioned, tend to play up to the level of teams that are in the playoffs. They have a bad habit of maybe playing down to the level of some of the lesser teams in the league, like an Ottawa or Detroit, for example. But this is a team that I think is good, and I think the Sabres will play well to sort of try and match their intensity. And of course, Owen Power's first game at home, which is, the biggest storyline of the night, quite frankly. And that's always exciting. So that should be a fun one to watch tonight, regardless of what the score is, just to see him on home ice.
For sure. And obviously we saw, he had a very good NHL debut, but he's, a quiet good. Like he didn't stand out, he wasn't flashy, but the plays he's supposed to make, he made. And you saw like glimmers of what he will be eventually down the road. He's an aggressive, he isn't more well known for his puck handling, but we've seen that he can handle the puck. He's not afraid to be aggressive and go to the net. On that 4-on-4, I pointed out last night on Two Goalies on Mike, he right off the bat, right at the faceoff, the puck went back to the point, and you saw Owen Power sneak to the front of the net, looking for a shot, looking to be there in case there's a rebound. That's the same exact style of hockey he played at Michigan. And it looks like Don Granato has pretty much told him, listen, you're free to do what you want. Go out there and play hockey and have fun.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. He had a quiet debut, which is a good thing. As a defenseman, one of the best, I guess I'll say, compliments you can receive is from somebody saying they didn't really notice you out there. Obviously, it's different. Like if Dahlin goes out and has a game where he's invisible, that's not really a good thing. But for a guy who's more known for his abilities defensively and his stout play all around the ice, having a quiet game is a good thing. Now, I will say a lot of Sabres fans probably did notice him because they're watching for him. But if you had a random, like let's say just a random Calgary Flames fan is tuning into this game just for the heck of it, right? He probably didn't notice that Owen Power was even really on the ice. He probably looked on Twitter after the game and went, oh, the number 1 overall pick played today? That's interesting. Now, I know they mentioned it on the broadcast, but that's neither here nor there. My point stands in that as a defenseman, he didn't have a loud game. He didn't get exposed on any turnovers. He didn't get walked on defense or anything, and he didn't have any bad plays in the offensive zone. He didn't take any penalties. So I'll say a good debut from Owen Power, and I look forward to something similar tonight. I would love to see him get a point, though. Maybe like a secondary assist would be a reasonable expectation at home 100%. Tonight. Yeah, I think I would like to see that. I would definitely.
other storylines too today. A couple clicks for Don Granado. He made the assistant coach for Team USA for the World Championships this summer. That's good for him. He's been a very integral part of the U.S. development program over the past decade. And we talked last night on Two Goalies One Mic about the options that Buffalo might have both in free agency and the trade market. And a lot of players that we discussed were players that were brought up through the U.S. development program, some of which under Don Granado. So, you hope that connection, to USA Hockey helps to continue to pay dividends for Buffalo in the future. Also, other storylines, Matthias Samuelsson not on the ice for warmups. I wonder if that has to do with the injury sustained the night before against Toronto. I believe it was a shot block, right, on the Austin Matthews shot. That was brutal. It was a gnarly shot block. I think I might have it.
It was a good soak. I will say, I mean, I commend him for blocking that regardless, and he obviously took it in a tough spot. I'm going to assume that that's what it's from. He left the ice immediately. He went to the dressing room, came back and finished the game, but I think it was pretty obvious he was – I mean, they probably just, I'll say they put Novocaine on it or whatever and then numbed it. And then afterwards it swole. When he took his skate off, they were his foot swole up. And then they're like, all right, well, now this is a more serious issue, but hopefully not a long-term thing. Hopefully not even a short-term thing. Hopefully it's just day to day and that's fine. But I'm going to assume it's from soaking that shot on Tuesday.
100%. I know what, that's what's even more impressive to me is, Buffalo has nothing to play for other than pride. And, I agree. I'm not one of those fans that's hoping for a better draft spot by losing right now. I want this team to keep winning. I want them to keep rolling. If we lose on Shane Wright, we lose on Shane Wright. It is what it is in my eyes. I would much rather build this winning culture now going into next season. But to see a guy sell out in front of Austin Matthews on a 1T, winding up with all the power that he has, he sold out, put his body on the line, and a season that's lost. You would have seen that last year or the year before. You just wouldn't have. Guys would have, turned away from that. And wouldn't have been able to take that shot block. Like you said, wouldn't have been able to soak that in. And that just really goes to show the culture that's being built right now in Buffalo and the willingness to put your body on the line for each other, to play for each other, and to win for each other. That's just a small example of what's being built in Buffalo right now.
Yeah, it's exciting to watch that. And obviously Samuelsson is one of our plethora, I'll say, of young defensemen. And it's great to see. Now, I think individually, he probably is of the mindset that, he's still trying to prove himself in the league, prove himself to his coaches and to his teammates. So he's going to do what it takes at all times to win. And this is not the team that we, this is not a tank team. This is not a team that is designed to be bad or a team that I'm with you on the whole draft pick. I'm fine with whatever draft pick we end up with. Knock on wood, we're going to end up with Vegas's too, possibly. So I think the NHL draft, it's not like the NFL draft, where if we get a top 3 pick, we're almost guaranteed a stud.
Yeah.
I think the NHL draft is more of, I guess I'll use the term, a crapshoot, in that the chances of the player you picking are they don't, it's not like from pick 1 to 31, it's the best player to the 31st best player. You're going to be, there's sort of a scale that sort of fluctuates on that in any round of the NHL draft. So I think I'm fine if we end up with the 6th pick or the 4th pick or the 8th pick. I'm okay with that. Just because I like the way this team is going, and I'll take the small victory in that a worse draft pick means the team is getting better theoretically. And I think that at this point, watching them be subpar for so many years, finally seeing some sort of tangible results, I guess, in that department, I'll take that little victory over another pick that's 2 or 3 picks before that.
Agreed. The 2 top players at the top of this draft, obviously Shane Wright, Logan Cooley. I'm a big Logan Cooley fan myself. He's a lot of talent in that kid. And again, I'm always in favor of bringing a U.S. born development player into the fold, especially with a coach like Don Granado, who has had so much success in that field with that program. But I agree. I think the time is done for rooting for losses for draft position. Like I just don't care about winning the Shane Wright lottery. I don't care. I want to win hockey games and I want to build a winning culture, and I don't want to screw up what we've been building here. I just don't. I don't care. Like if we end up drafting 6th, then whatever. Like okay, we'll still get a good player out of it. Hopefully, like you still have 3 first-round draft picks. Like I doubt you're using all 3 of those picks. You're probably spinning at least one of those picks into a player that's going to help you next season. Like you don't do that unless you're thinking that you're going to be a team that's willing to compete next season and maybe push for a playoff spot. And with this game tonight against the St. Louis Blues, a team again also very tough to play with. They're starting Jordan Bennington Buffalo again, going back to Craig Anderson, and not much outside of the Matthias Samuelsson missing. Not much has changed in the lineup. Your top line obviously still Skinner, Thompson, and Tuck. Asplund, Middlestat, and Olofsson, Krebs, Cousin, Hinostroza, Girgensons, Eakin back in the lineup with Okposo. Bryson being paired with Dahlin, filling in that spot where Samuelson was, and then Power with Yoki Haru, Butcher, and Fitzgerald together on your third pairing. Craig Anderson in goal. Also spotted on Buffalo's bench before during warmups. Sean McDermott is in the house.
Interesting. I did not.
He was talking with Don Granato during warmups.
Oh, he was like on the bench.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Those are
Yeah,
the little connections you like to sort of, as Buffalo people are very sort of, we've embraced, regardless of where the origins of the saying came from. I think most people in Buffalo have embraced that one Buffalo mentality.
Correct.
And when things like that sort of cultivate it, it's fun to sort of experience that. So those are always fun to see. I didn't see that. I'm glad you brought that up because that makes me happy. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like some of the process and bring some of the process over to the Buffalo Sabres? Why not?
Right.
Before obviously puck drop here shortly in a minute or two, we'll get your prediction real quick here, Vinny. How do you feel about this game tonight? You think the Sabres keep rolling off a big win against the Toronto Maple Leafs, or do you think they fall short tonight?
That's a good question. I'll be honest. If I could predict a tie in this game, I would. I'm very back and forth on this. Like I mentioned, the Sabres tend to play well against better opponents. That's just sort of a theme over the past maybe month or so. And the Blues are a good team. I think as we get down the year, I think the Blues are continuing to fight to try to earn themselves a higher seed in the playoffs. I think the Sabres, they're just fighting for pride, and they're fighting to build something to work on into next year. So I don't think there's really a team that should. I mean, the Blues are going to be favored in this, like obviously, but I don't think, in my mind, they're not. I think it's a pretty heads-up game. I mean, just going off of what I have a gut feeling about, I have a feeling that the Blues will probably take this one. I have a feeling the Sabres will play well. I'm going to predict that this is one of those games that the Sabres play well and probably deserve to win, but they don't. I'm going to go 5-3 Blues. The 5th goal is I'm going to go with an empty netter. And I bet the Sabres are put on just like a bunch of pressure. I'm going to say the Sabres are the Blues, but maybe Bennington has a good night and the Blues maybe pull this one out. I'm going to go 5-3.
I'm going to stay with the same theme as you, but I will change the result. I think Buffalo does win tonight. But however, I think it might be a little bit of a higher scoring affair. I think the absence of a guy like Matthias Samuelsson will be noticed a lot tonight. His ability to play so well in front of his own net, in his own zone, protect the blue paint in front, really keep people out of Anderson's face, let him see pucks. So I honestly think this might be like a 6-5 hockey game.
Wow.
Bennington's had a tough go this year. I mean, Anderson has played very, very well considering what the expectations were coming in. But I think the loss of Samuelsson in this lineup will be prevalent tonight, and you might see maybe some mental lapses on the defensive side of the puck for Buffalo tonight. But I still think they pull one out like 6-5 or 6-4 tonight. So, but with that being said, remember this was brought to you guys by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. I hope you guys enjoyed the game tonight. Let's go Sabres. Vinny, thank you for obviously joining us.
Thank you for having me again.
This impromptu pregame show. I apologize that my voice sounds so hoarse. I'm dealing with COVID right now, so it's been a rough go for me. But as always, we always have 3 words for you guys, and that is let's go Sabres. There it is. I should have played that clip. I